So there.
The recorded one.
Okay. I'm thinking about it. Okay, so item number 1 on the agenda this evening.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah. Welcome everybody. I'm going to shuffle around the order of agenda this evening because we are very lucky to be joined by Mr. Alan Litchfield, and I believe he would like to speak, so I'm going to pop him in at the beginning so that he doesn't have to wait around any longer than he'd like to. So yes, if Alan would like to come up and speak.
It's actually me that's going to do
No problem.
talking, and Alan will have his couple of minutes in the middle.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Of course, and I think if anybody would like to speak on the same subject, we'll do that all here at the beginning.
Would you like us to come up there?
You can, whatever you think comfortable with, I don't mind.
Right, thanks for having us today. Madam Mayor, councillors, thank you for allowing me and Alan to address you this evening in the Ivor Potter Hall. I knew Ivor personally and what great work he's done for the community. And I look at some of the mayors up there, what great work they've done over the years. Some not too good ones to be honest, but on the whole very good. Firstly, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Dave Worth. I'm here tonight representing Bude British Legion, Bude Royal Navy Association, and finally Bude Marines Association. I was born in Stratton, as was my dad, his dad before him, and a few before him. I served as a Royal Marine from 1987 to 2001 before I left due to an injury and having to have a replacement hip. To my left is Mr. Alan Litchfield, ex-Royal Marine, World War II veteran, D-Day veteran. He served off Sword Beach in June 1944, where he was wounded in Kazovac for a short time, before returning to continue fighting the Nazis in Holland, Belgium, and latterly in Germany. He was awarded the highest award in France when he was awarded the Legion d'Honneur in 2016, and one of the few D-Day veterans still alive today. Before going on to talk about the flag situation, I would like to go on the record to thank the Pride movement for the great work they do in the community, and wish them all the best for their event, which is coming up at the end of the month. I have received many complaints over the last few days from members of the Royal British Legion, Royal Navy Association and Royal Marines Association members, reference the flag situation on Shoulder Hill, adjacent to the War Memorial, so right next to the War Memorial. And they've been asking why the Pride flag should be flying all under the Union Jack. I would like to point out the first flag flying for days should have never been there at all, as it was a new design and that required planning permission, which I know you didn't have, which you were aware of a week before when Mr. Richard Barrett had pointed this out to the Mayor on social media. But you, as a council, totally ignored this and carried on flying, until I pointed it out again on 7th of June in an email to Keith Cornwall, the clerk. A few hours later, that flag came down and the old one went up. I started a conversation with the Mayor on Sunday the 5th of June, sorry about it being on a Sunday, on social media, to ask if they could sort the flags out as they were getting interfering with each other and that the Union Jack often was not visible at all. I needed this sorted ASAP. As I told the Mayor, I was taking Alan up there the next day to lay a wreath on behalf of the Royal British Legion, and if the flag was not visible, I was sure this would cause stress, much stress to Alan. And that is exactly what happened. Can you pass those photos around? There's a few photos of each, so if you'd like to pass them around, you'll get my gist. Alan would now like to say a few words about us, the evening that we went up to lay the wreath.
My name is Alan Whitfield. I'm the President of the Bude-Stratton branch of the Royal British Legion. Some of you may know me through my work through the Royal British Legion with the Armistice Parade and at the Triangle on Armistice Day, also Armistice Sunday. On Monday, the 6th of June, David took me to the cenotaph so I could lay a wreath there on behalf of my fallen comrades on D-Day. Imagine my disappointment after I'd laid this wreath. I looked at the Union flag and saw the Pride flag and no other. How could you? Especially after David had pointed out to you that this could happen. How could you?
So as Alan said, he then laid a wreath for the fallen, the men and women who had made the ultimate sacrifice. With a tear in his eye, he saluted them. I felt like I had failed Alan, as I told him I'd sort that flag out. So I'm here today to hopefully stick to my word and sort that out for him. I believe he's over that. Anyway, moving forward. Next Tuesday, the 14th of June, we will be holding a parade on Shoulder Hill to again remember the fallen on the 40th anniversary of the Falklands War ending. We will have a short service led by Dr. Harrison, who works tirelessly for the British Legion, and Deacon Debbie Moss saying a few words on behalf of the church. There will be many Falkland vets present. Some of them are still suffering with PTSD today, and a lot of them are from the Bude area. At 1100 hours, the bugle will sound the last post, followed by 2-minute silence, and we will remember the 256 that didn't make it back. I think on that day we should fly the biggest Union Jack we have available, and I hope you can support me in that. And on its own, nothing below. In total respect for the people that we lost. In future, I would ask the Council to show respect by flying only the Union Jack on Shoulder Hill and display whatever they deem suitable on other flagpoles around the town. So tonight, we would like you to vote the council on showing the hill that there will only be one flag at a time, and those flags can only be the Union Jack, the English flag, and of course, the Cornish flag. Now I'd like to read out, before I close, it only takes a few minutes, is to read a couple of emails that I received today. If I can remember my own past one. Here's the first, addressed to the council. Dear Sir Madam, I do wish to express my disgust at the flying of the pride flag alongside the Union Jack. Alan Litchfield is my father, and also I'm extremely happy about it. Although we must all live together nowadays and come up to modern times, my father is from an era where flags such as these were unheard of. Please take this flag down. It's an obscenity, nothing to do with the Bude War Memorial. Erect it elsewhere by all means, and give my father and all the other war veterans the respect they deserve for all they have done for this country. And secondly, I've got a couple of mails the other day that I struggled with. I struggled to read them because I'm ex-vets. Why did I struggle? Because I was crying. I don't do that very often, not even when so loose. Here it goes. Harry, that's me. I write this message to you today due to my dismay at seeing LGBT. I think that's the right letters. Flag hanging from the flagpole on Memorial Hill. I am fully behind any peaceful movement that intends to lessen discrimination against any group within our society. However, this makes me very angry and does not mean that there should be an emblem of support everywhere. The flagpole is for us, those who served our country, straight, gay, black, white, any other creed or colour that walks the green earth. It is just a bit of white stick to many, a place that stands out and therefore a jewel in the crown for all to try to conquer and hang their colours from. But to us, it shows us a place that we can go together, share tears, memories, hugs, and remember those who didn't come home. Those who died beside us and those we left behind. Those who came home and lost the war in their heads, and those for whom a stick on the hill was worth fighting and ultimately dying for. I heard an old man, as you are, who came to the hill in his proud town of Cornwall to lay his wreath, to remember the hell he waded and crawled through on the top of what hill he saw a flag, for those were the ones he fought for. And as a veteran raised his arm to salute the flag, he was forced to salute theirs also. This is a disgrace. As we veterans are not overlooked enough, we now have to lose the only thing that we get to keep our country forgets about us, and our respect. I trust this issue will now occur again, and this elderly proud veteran will receive the apology he much deserves. And that is a guy I know personally who's suffering badly from PTSD. He tried to get here tonight, but basically bombed it at the last minute. So, you the council, I have two questions to you. One, why did you not sort this out on Monday, before Monday, when I begged you to? Why was the original flag flown when you knew it was not allowed to, and the relevant planning permission was not sought? But before you answer these questions and come to a conclusion, I went on your website today, the Alliance website, I understand. Sorry, maybe need to be someone?
No,
You're okay, I'll carry on.
thank you.
And before you answer, I'd like to remind you of some things on the Bude Alliance website, and I quote, to listen to the community. I believe us veterans deserve to be listened to. There must be a democratic participation in decision making, again, on your website. To prioritise the needs of the many over the individuals, again, on your website. We will be open to new ideas and we'll be constantly open to reconsidering what we do. I hope you do this today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, would anybody else like to speak on this before I give my
I'd just like to say something if I can.
Of course, you may.
Just for everybody in this room, I'm sure the veterans will back me up on this. If it wasn't for people like Alan, I would hate to say it, but you wouldn't have that flag. Okay, you would all be speaking German. Okay, and whether you like to believe that or not, that's exactly as it is. Because of those days when he went onto the beaches of Normandy, Germany were ready to strike at the UK. I'll rest it there.
Take a seat. It's only just for your Fine. Right. So, in response, thank you for your comments. At our last meeting, we unanimously resolved to endorse 4 actions and the following statement. This June, Bude-Stratton Town Council will mark Pride Month by supporting and celebrating the achievements of local activists and educators. These inspirational allies are committed to ensuring that every single individual in our community, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or sex characteristics, receives an equal opportunity to live their truth with freedom from discrimination. One of the actions I spoke of was to fly the Pride flag at BSTC locations throughout June. I felt it was appropriate and poignant that the Pride and Union flags fly together on Shoulder Hill, as it gives support and acknowledgement to all those serving members of the military, past and present, that are themselves part of the LGBTQ+ community, as well as acknowledging the struggle that the LGBTQ community have faced throughout history and continue to face today. Bude's own Pride team have stated that their aim is to encourage acceptance and tolerance, bringing everybody together in a celebration of visibility and equality. I see no contradiction between these aims and the hard-won freedoms we rightly celebrate when we honour our military. It is clear to me as well that the military in the UK has been taking steps to eliminate discrimination and to openly support personnel from the LGBTQ+ community for many years now. So gay and lesbian citizens have been allowed to serve openly in Her Majesty's Armed Forces since 2000. The United Kingdom's policy is to allow gay men, lesbians and transgender personnel to serve openly, and discrimination on a sexual orientation basis is forbidden. In 2016, some 200 military personnel first marched at Pride in London, and Sandhurst was lit up in rainbow colours. Pride in London is the 2nd of July this year, and it is expected that the Pride flag will fly under the Union flag on many government buildings for this event, as was seen at the Cabinet Office during Pride in previous years. Now, prior to the Council's proposal, government rules and protocol were checked. As of the 24th of June last year, regulations state that 2 flags are indeed permitted, including at least 1 national flag to be flown from the same flagpole. In light of the complaints received recently, I myself contacted Mr. Graham Bartram, who is the chief, I'm going to have to, this word is difficult, vexillologist, which is flag expert, from the British Flag Institute. He reassured me that we have indeed followed government rules and protocol correctly. He himself was involved in the writing of said laws. The issue with the Union flag sticking to itself, unfortunately, is due to the weather and nothing to do with sharing a flagpole. It has always done this, presumably due to it being a heavier, better quality material. We've taken this feedback though, and we've purchased a lighter weight Union flag, which should fly better in wet weather. Both flags sited on Shoulder Hill represent this council's commitment to honour and respect areas of our community who have endured significant sacrifice, and to state plainly that we recognise and value their contribution. The presence of one flag does not devalue the significance of the other, and I ask that our community recognise this during both Pride Month and the upcoming military ceremonies due to take place. Okay. Only thing I will touch on is your request for a vote. Obviously, we have already considered this at full council, and we have already unanimously voted for it.
Yeah, I totally understand. If you could answer the first question when I said, was the first flag flying illegally?
Not illegally, no.
So what word would you use?
We consulted Cornwall Council on the Monday morning, I believe, as soon as it was raised.
I believe it was raised a week before by Richard Barrett, as I have seen it on the Nostalgia Bude website, I believe.
I have to
Might be
check.
on the website, but he didn't contact the office
No.
No, he had communications with Amanda.
On the Saturday
On the Saturday, yeah.
was when we first heard about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not-
So on the Monday, when the office came back, they got straight onto Cornwall Council and were advised accordingly.
And that flew till Monday, Tuesday.
I think it went up the next
So
day.
4 days afterwards, you were told to. It was not illegal was the word you didn't use.
Yeah.
Without consent. it was
Without
raised.
consent.
He didn't need
without
mandates.
consent.
You made a mistake. That's fine.
Yes, absolutely.
So my point now is, where do we go on photos? Will there be what flags are we allowed to fly?
The Union Jack is still up, I believe, is it not at the top?
Yes.
I don't believe anything is changing.
Could you take the pride flag down for just a day?
I think that contradicts everything I've just said.
Yes, I totally understand. I fully support the pride movement. I think they're brilliant, and the work that they do is amazing. But this is your opinion. As I read on your website, you will always consult the people.
Yeah, can I
You're
just
not doing the
clarify
people,
that
you're
point
doing
as
it
well,
yourself.
Dave? The website you've consulted is the Bude-Stratton Community Alliance website. We are Bude-Stratton Town Council.
Yes, but everybody on here, I've seen pictures, nearly everybody on here.
Right, irrelevant, I'm afraid.
Really?
Yeah,
How is
no,
that
it is
relevant?
irrelevant because we are Bude-Stratton Town Council and you're here tonight to address Bude-Stratton Town Council.
Well, this is like
So-
a word, sorry.
Anyway.
Can some other people speak? I know, Paul, you're
Yeah.
independent. Would you like to say anything? Is that correct?
Of course.
I'm independent, it's up to the mayor whether I can speak.
You may, and then I would like to go to somebody over there.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
I accept everything they say, but these guys fought for the flag,
Yes.
and the flag is important to them, far more than a lot of people realise, you know. So that's one thing. The thing that really moved me is that the pride flag is actually slightly bigger than the Union Jack, which is a worry. I think we should just have a single Union Jack and a bigger Union Jack on that main pole, especially on the 14th of June, you know. Because these guys, you know, fight for the flag.
I mean, it's great to know this, but this is Tuesday. We've got veterans coming. They suffer from PTSD. They might be angry, and we're trying to avoid the situation.
Okay, thank you. That's very kind for your words. Yes.
I just think that really it should be, something like this, which is very controversial, should be really put to the vote of all the people in Bude, not just a few. You know, I don't think, right, I've got nothing against any of it, but I don't know why, it's just one place in the whole of Bude that they want to just have the Union Jack. Why can't they just do that on the one place? Anywhere else, nobody's got a problem with. But it seems, you know, and I know gay people, I've got a problem with anybody. But I do have a problem with that.
Okay, thank you. Kelly?
The acceptance of different people with different sexualities in our community is not controversial. It's not a controversial subject. We have to accept it. And in the face of all of this obvious disgust, I feel personally that it's even more important to keep that flag up.
Thank you.
But what
Kelly.
do you-
I'm
no.
sorry. said I'd like to go to Alex, if I may. Is that all right, Alex? Yeah, Alex, would just like to say a few words, please. No worries. And before he does, I do just want to say that obviously this is not, it's not an agenda item. We wanted to hear what you had to say, but I don't want it to be a debate, because that's not appropriate for the meeting tonight. We've listened to your views. I'm going to go to Alex now. Thank you.
I would like to thank Amanda Tame and the rest of our town council for allowing me the time to speak to you today. I was saddened to be notified of our most recent progressive pride flag needing to be changed back to its original colours. The fact that there are people in our own community who felt the need to take measures to regress our colours in my eyes demonstrates why we still need pride. It shows that the work we are doing as a wider community is having a significant impact in representing an era where lazy and damaging discrimination against the LGBTQ+ and other minority communities will no longer have a place in view. A day when every one of us can and will actively stand up for equality and inclusivity for everyone around us. Where discriminatory and ignorant behaviours will be challenged whenever they are met. To me, flying the progressive flag in a rural community such as ours brings a moment of unparalleled joy. Myself and so many other people in our diverse society felt recognised, accepted, and most of all, safe. Visibility and positive representation of the LGBTQ+ community is paramount in creating a society that is equal, inclusive, and celebratory of our differences. No matter how you identify, no one can be considered equal, until the concept of equality is applicable to everyone. And this is why pride still exists. This is why the progress flag still needs to fly. The flag represents a goal that we as a progressive society are working towards. A day when people like myself are no longer scared of holding our partners' hands in public, scared of the discrimination our children will face for having parents of the same gender, fear for our children who are brave enough to express themselves authentically, scared of discrimination from the moment we step out of the house in the morning. That flag, and the equality it represents, does not undermine the rights of others. It is not there to threaten the authority or authenticity of others. It is to give those who are currently marginalized in society the same authority, to validate their authenticity, and to celebrate all of the ways our differences make positive contributions to the world around us. That most recent progress flag is important and needed in our community, because despite progress being gradually made in the Western world, the UK is still ranked as the third highest hate crime rate within Europe. I will repeat that and let it sink in. We are one of the leading countries in the Western world, yet we still have the third highest rate of hate crime in Europe. This contributes towards the increasing volume of LGBTQ+ people suffering with mental health crisis being at an all-time high. This includes the increased suicide rates, seen especially within members of our trans community. These feelings are often derived from the discrimination and marginalization faced in their day-to-day lives, which leaves them feeling unsafe, unloved, and unincluded within the communities they live in. Both in Cornwall as well as the rest of the Southwest, these feelings are increasingly amplified by the heightened rate of ignorance-based prejudice in this corner of the world. I'm going to open on the importance of this flag on a personal level. Growing up even just 10 years ago, I didn't have anyone telling me it was okay to be myself. I didn't see a flag in my community that told me it was okay to be myself, that it was okay to give my life equal value to the other lives around me. I didn't feel safe to be myself. I policed the way I walked. I kept as low and submissive a presence as I could when I walked down the street, constantly feeling the anxiety of where the next jarring comment, or even the next physical assault would come from. I rarely left my home, for the simple reason that I did not feel safe. That I lived in a town that did not make me feel safe. At one point, that was this town. Elle genuinely didn't feel there was anyone with authority here that gave any regard to my equality or safety. I am so proud, and so thankful that we are working towards a day where this is no longer the case. That our town council is taking tremendous steps to make sure that nobody needs to feel this way when living here today. I would have given anything and everything I had to feel that kind of safety back then. And that is why I'm here speaking out here today. Whilst the LGBTQ+ progress flag may feel like a mere concession to woke culture, an attack on the freedom of derogatory speech against minorities in our community. To myself, and to so many other people in our town, the flag is a symbol of freedom. Freedom of expression, freedom from violence and hate. The freedom to feel safe as our authentic selves in public. I didn't have this growing up. Instead, this lack of representation lead me to believe I was wrong, even lead others to believe I was wrong, that I didn't deserve happiness, that I didn't deserve to be safe. It even made me feel like it was acceptable to be the victim of hate crimes, to genuinely fear for my life every time I left the house. And that was growing up here. By the time I was 18, I had already made 6 suicide attempts, because I genuinely felt I was better off dead than I was to be myself and be happy. The sad part to this story is that it is all too common a narrative for LGBTQ+ youth. The reason positive change is continuing to be made in the world is because of people like those of us in this room who are willing to give us this crucial representation. What may seem like a rainbow washing attack on old-fashioned values to some is quite literally saving the lives of others. By proudly flying the pride flag in our town, we are showing our diverse youth that their lives matter, they are seen, they are celebrated. And most of all, we are working together to protect the basic human right to express their identities freely. Their right to say freedom of identity should not be something that is still up for debate in our day and age. It is a basic human right and it is deserved by everyone. That is what flying the LGBTQ+ progress flag in our town means to me, and I hope there are people in this room who feel the same when they saw that flag in view. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Who was that? Who was that person?
Alex.
Can I just ask you, man, who gave you that freedom?
Right, I don't want it to turn into a back and forth, it's not
We're asking for
appropriate.
one back off, that's it.
Yeah,
We're not asking for
completely
all
off
of
the
you.
subject.
We're not discriminating against anybody.
Right.
For example, one flag off, that's it.
Yeah,
Now, is that too much to ask for?
I've given my statement, which clearly says how I feel, and we as a council collectively voted to put the flags up together.
You're ignoring the people, which
I'm
is the
not
very
ignoring
point
the
you took over the council from these people. These people, like people who was at Partridges, you said they never listened. Perhaps they didn't, but you definitely aren't.
I've listened, but I'm afraid I don't
But
agree.
you've already made your statement out
Thank
before,
you, that's-
before we
Thank you, Dave.
I believe the veterans being...
Right, I can't have people just shouting out, I'm sorry, I have to conduct the meeting properly, and that means putting your hand up and waiting for me to address you. Thank you. That gentleman at the back.
First, what the gentleman said, I fully commended before.
Yeah.
I think what has happened over this weekend is inappropriate, especially with the Jubilee weekend. And actually, the flag that was flying initially was a breach of planning, of which the council, I think, should publicly apologise for, because it defaces the whole flying of the Jubilee flag and defaces the whole weekend of Queen's Jubilee. I understand that all voted to fly pride flag, which is allowed under the legislation, the guidance which is given by governments. But again, I feel it was inappropriate and maybe even misguided to fly that flag over the Jubilee weekend and other times when we are commemorating what has happened over history since 1066. All the veterans here, present, past, within our community, all fought for that flag and all fought to allow the pride flag to be flown. But there needs to be days where you need to respect and just appreciate what people have done to allow you to have the freedom to fly that flag.
Thank you. Yes.
I'd just like to say about this speech up there. The guy fought in the war and all the ones that died in the war. If they hadn't fought and they hadn't done what they've done and got rid of Hitler, she or he or anybody like them wouldn't have been able to say anything. They would probably not have been here. They would have been just wiped off the face of the earth. So surely that man there has got a bit of clout, and if he doesn't want it, there's millions of us too. And it's like we're asking for somebody to demolish half of Bude. You know, it is. And all they're asking for is that one flight come to themselves.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Yes.
Why are you discriminating against people like me? We're Cornish. Why have you taken our flag down?
I have to check what flag is where. Have we
It's
got
not
the
cross
flag
spirit.
anywhere?
It's been flying
No,
there
it's come
forever.
down. Because it's Pride Month, that flag has gone up, and because we've had the Jubilee as well, it's all happening in June, so we've had to
So
change.
why are you discriminating against the Cornish people?
It's not a discrimination.
Well, it would be if you took their flag down.
All right, thank you. Yes.
You talk about respect and freedom. 160,000 young men and women stormed Sword Beach to restore our freedom against the Nazi regime. Had they failed, there would be no LGBT, there would be no blacks, there would be no Jews, no minority groups under the Nazis. And it's thanks to these guys that we have that freedom, that people can express themselves. So for a few days of the year, there's no problem demonstrating our thanks to the military and flying a flag on behalf of the military, and only on behalf of the military.
Okay, thank you.
Says something.
Kelly, yes.
I have family that grew up in the Second World War, and they were so proud to have fought for the freedoms that we now enjoy as much as we can. And they would be so proud that those freedoms are flying. And I just don't understand why that is not the case here. They fought for those and they want to celebrate them.
Thank you. Yes, Rob.
I find myself in a really difficult position because I agree entirely with the council and I agree entirely with the veterans and with the rest of the community. This is a really, really difficult situation. Both sides are absolutely correct. You fought for the flag. You have a right to think that that's your, in the modern language, safe place where you go and you honour that flag, that it's special for you on certain days. I totally accept that. There's also the issue of that it's Pride Month and that we ought to celebrate that. And we ought to celebrate it in a really, really visible way. And we shouldn't let people tell us to take the flag down. This is far too big an issue for us to discuss here and now. We won't get to the bottom of it. I wasn't here at the meeting last time, so I don't know what the discussion was in full. But surely we can move it just for one day. I totally accept the symbolic nature of that to Pride. And it is something that we, as a council, probably don't agree with. But sometimes we have to do things that we don't agree with because we have to respect the needs of another minority at a particular time. Maybe we ought to give consideration to this. I don't even know how I feel on this. I feel really, really conflicted.
Thank you for your honesty. We probably not far up as we're feeling and yourselves. Yeah, thank you.
Just one more thing, Madam. As an actual former settler, obviously as you can see, and actually seeing some of the other guys who've actually seen real action, it does, you know, we do it for everybody, regardless of colour, sexual orientation, anything. We do it because it's what we're told to do and it's also what we want to do. Okay, so then we don't have terrible things happening. Last year I spent the year working with SO19 in London, helping them to take down various terrorist attacks that were being planned in this country. 17 of those terrorist attacks were against the LGBT community, which were stopped by sort of the Metropolitan Police and things like that. So it's got nothing to do with our prejudice. It's got nothing to do with anything. It's just a fact of pride for us, as in our own pride. We see things like Pride Month, Black History Month, but we never see anything for the veterans. We get 11th of November, Armistice Day. We get the 6th of June. We get the 14th of July, or June, sorry. And that's it. And we get forgotten all the time. The veterans, when we're at war, we're great, we're heroes. But when we come home, we get forgotten. The suicide rate in the military at the moment is exponentially going insane. Myself and Dave lost a friend a couple of weeks ago who killed himself because we can't cope when we leave. PTSD is a very real thing. So, going off the subject of prejudice and this, that and the other, all we're simply asking for is just for one day, the 6th of June or the 11th of November, where that Union Jack, we can stand there and look at it and say, yeah, our friends died for that flag, as well as all the other ones. But that's the one that stands out most.
Listening to all this, can I just say that Bude-Stratton Town Council made their decisions. Perhaps the place that Bude-Stratton Town Council's decision on that is on the Bude-Stratton Park House flag. And that Shoulder Hill, where the War Memorial is, belongs very much to the people of Bude. We had people training on the cliffs here to go out to D-Day. I have relatives who were there. So I do very strongly believe that perhaps Shoulder Hill belongs more to the people of Bude than Bude-Stratton Town Council.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me while I'm talking to that part.
That's what I have to fulfill.
Of course.
Whether I'm asked to break that resolution, which is not.
No.
Okay. That's the problem.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. I think at the moment, pending further discussion between myself and the clerk, I'm going to have to just thank you for all your input this evening. Because, you know, from a procedural point of view, we've brought this before ourselves previously and we voted on it and we have a resolution. So I'm going to have to sort of, from a procedural point of view, thank you for everything you've said. And I will have more of a conversation with Keith after this evening.
Okay. Can I just say one thing in closing? It really worries me. I'm a new lad through and through, used to know Darkies. Father, man, I used to know your husband, Sarge. I've done a football for you a few weeks ago. Mrs. York probably took me here a few times when I was a policeman. It really worries me that you as a council make these decisions without consulting the people. Without consulting the people that you are here to represent. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's what people want. And I do believe you've forgotten that. The exact thing that you were supposed to be standing when you were slagging off Pete Moores, when you were slagging off the Partridges. And that is why you've had 3 resignations, I do believe, in the last few months.
All right.
And now sadly Keith is leaving. What a great job you've done, Keith. Thank you very much.
As a person on you, thank you for representing everybody and listening to everybody and doing something. That's not me disagreeing with what you guys are requesting. It's very interesting to me, as someone who's learning about things that I don't know anything about, but that statement I felt was really harsh because you guys are stepping forwards in ways that are incredible and are changing lives of the younger people that we're trying to help. So, just to counterbalance that, thank you for everything that you guys do.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, Chris, yes.
It's clearly we're in a bit of a situation that's not very popular. Could I suggest then that maybe, if the councillors want to, they have a notice of motion so that you could change the decision or amend it to include the 2 things that Mr. Worth is looking for, i.e. the 6th of June and Remembrance Day, to have that one Union Jack on the flag. That would show some understanding for this council to the veterans. It's just a thought. you know, you want to be able to encompass your community. This is quite clearly a very serious matter. And it's just a suggestion, because that is a procedure where we have 6 signatures to revisit the decision that you read out, of how you deal with flags of whatever denomination. And you could, if you wanted, change that to have 2 exceptions. That is on Remembrance Day and on the 6th of June. The only flag that flies on that flag mast is the Union Jack.
Thanks. Yes, it would, yes. Yeah, no worries.
I just need to point a few sort of procedural bits out. I think the point is that we're trying to figure out procedurally how to do it. I think overhearing little bits and pieces. We've got a resolution from last time which says a very specific thing, which is what we empower Keith and his team to do. So for Keith to do anything else, we need to figure out procedurally how we do that. So it's going to look like we're sort of saying, okay, off you go, thanks very much, but no, we need to figure out how we do it and what we want to do and how we're going to do it. So it's not a case of sort of dismissing it at all. We hear it always, you know, very powerful around, very emotive, and it's, you know, it's quite hard to hear, but we just need to figure out what we want to do and how we're going to do it, because we are bound by laws, which you will understand, we're bound by procedures, and we need to just work out.
Yeah, but if you want to change it,
so there's nothing on the agenda. That's the point that I'm making. There's nothing on there for tonight.
No.
Well, we can't just suddenly decide to say, actually, we want to vote on this.
No.
Here we go. It needs to be on the agenda.
Yeah.
Well, someone needs to have the bottle, put it on the agenda, then.
Because the agenda is already published for tonight. That's the point I'm trying to make this.
Thank you. I'm just going to go over to Martin. Darby.
14.
Yeah.
When I walked there at 9 o'clock, I just did the knife and cut the bloody thing down.
Right.
Then,
Martin, please.
I think for me, I am like Rob, really conflicted with this, and I want to see a solution to it that's amicable for everybody. I completely and utterly respect the sacrifice that you guys have made. You know, and when you said that we would be talking German or whatever, you know, 150,000 homosexuals went to the gas chambers.
I was going to say
you fought for that not to happen here. And for me, the pride flag celebrates your achievements. So actually, in part of this discussion, what I would really like to suggest is that the pride community come together with the ex-military community and work on a solution and work out whether or not, if you want to bring that flag down on those days, how do they feel about it? You know, is it okay? And actually then put out a joint statement to say why it's being done, why you've agreed it, why you think it works for you, and why you think it works for the military, and why it works for pride. And I think then we can all hold our heads up high and say that we feel respected. Because for us to make a decision as a council to pull that pride flag down, it's to ignore wishes of pride. And also to ignore the wishes, and to lead up to ignore wishes of you. So we have to listen. We are listening. And I think that discourse, coming together, agreeing a solution, and putting out a statement will be a really powerful thing from each side of the community. I don't know how many people feel about that, but that's how I feel about it.
Thank you, Martin.
Would you like to answer that? I think that's probably one of the sensiblest things that's been said tonight, and I am vice chair of the British Legion, but I'd have to ask Alfred, he would probably be the man to show that. But again, if the guys are having that, I'm sure that we would more happy to do that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Martin, for that. And thank you all for coming along and speaking. Thank you.
We have apologies from Simon Browning, Alex Lewitt, Peter LeBroy, Mike Dorr, and Jamie Wright, who may get here, but probably he's working. So, and Cornwall Councillor and Check.
And any declarations of registered and unregistered disclosure of pecuniary interest and non-registered interest? Yes, Deborah.
I'd like to leave this outside for 1916, because I'm voting for the right option.
Okay, thank you. Martin?
Same here, not voting for it, but I am associated.
Thank you.
Justice.
Sean?
I am a voting member, I'm elected to be a voting member by the town council, so
yes, you
are in the 57. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
Right,
that's it.
What was that?
No, don't, no, no.
I'm just saying.
Sorry, I'm saying.
Can you say?
19 dispensation for 1916. So is it interest at this point? Oh, that's fine.
It's just different marks at the moment.
No.
Oh, sorry, and for the, yeah. So dispensations was just wrong. Yeah. Okay. So number 4, the municipal council. No, sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forget that. I don't remember it. Okay, so vote that we consider. No.
Yes, we request for dispensation from Councillor Uli regarding item 16
Yeah.
to speak but not vote on the matter.
Okay.
And circulate the paper. So just needs to
Yes.
Can I make a quick proposal? Yes, Scotland was by far the example person that is a it's very right to
All those in favour then, please?
I vote yourself, probably that's always
Yeah, okay. That's everything. Okay, so now on to the municipal council. To receive, confirm, and sign the minutes of the Young Council meeting held on the 5th of May 2022. Yes. I'll second that. So all those in favour, please. That and all those against. And abstain. Thank you. All right.
Yep, that's fine.
And the minutes of the committees. To receive a note of the minutes of the committee meetings listed below. Active in all properties. So, we've got the planning committee on the 11th of May and the 25th of May. Yeah, I second that. So all those in favour, please, for the planning committee. 7.
Yep.
And all those against? And abstain. Oversight Committee on the 26th of May. I propose that we receive the minutes of that one. Thank you. All those in favour? And against? And abstain. Thank you, Paul. And lastly, the Staffing Committee on the 18th of May. Yeah, I propose we receive the minutes of the Staffing Committee on the 18th of May. Okay, all those in favour, please. Okay, against? And abstain. Thank you. Everybody? Correspondence received.
I've circulated correspondence which related to me back.
Okay, that's all been noted, thank you. Okay, on to the mayor's report. You have to listen to me again, sorry everybody. Okay, so firstly, I would like to extend our sincere condolences to the family and friends of Councillor Jackie Walter, who sadly passed away on Tuesday. She taught me for many years at Budehaven and did a huge amount in the community. And I'd also like to pay our respects to both Len Henson and Stu Bell, who also both passed away sadly recently. Huge figures in our town and a loss in the community indeed. I'd like to say a big thank you to Tony Hicks and Thomas Sutherland, who both recently left the council, for all their valuable service and hard work in our community. So one of the things that have been happening locally had an incredible literary festival that was out last month, and this was made possible by our amazing castle team, which was events officer Luna and the manager Mark. He was working alongside staff, Richard Walford and Brown, and volunteers. And we had so many events locally, and we received positive comments coming back to us from all over the country, which was amazing. I know Jackie, Councillor Jackie, was there. Would you mind saying a couple of words?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, very excited and proud of our first food festival. I want to hear the age is obviously involved. It's a good and such a wonderful variety of talks and music, history, law enforcement, it's actually amazing, and comedy. The event is really well attended, which was fantastic, and a fantastic team of volunteers, organised by Luna, and the organisation is separate. So yeah, it was a company including Mark, Friday Night, Richard Walking Brown, and just everything around it. Yeah, it was really brilliant.
That's great, thank you, Jackie. So, town and parish councils throughout the country did an excellent job in organising, supporting and facilitating events to mark the Platinum Jubilee. Now, I am extremely proud of the Jubilee event we held on the Castle Green, and I would like to pay special thanks to our excellent events officer again, Luna, Castle Manager Mark, and all the staff and volunteers who made it such a success. And I would also like to extend my appreciation to the various community groups and residents that held events in Bude-Stratton. It has been suggested that more could have been done by this council, and that a lack of enthusiasm for celebrating the Jubilee held us back. This was not the case at all, and this council wholeheartedly supported the Jubilee celebrations. In hindsight, however, and after seeing multi-day events happening in other towns, I accept that more could have been done. In particular, there was disappointment that we did not take part in the national lighting of the Jubilee beacons. We met the practical issues with putting a beacon on Sundays down, and took the decision instead to focus on the event at the castle. In hindsight, I do accept that we should have discussed this with the community, and given the community the chance to help us to have that Jubilee beacon. I'm determined to learn lessons from this, and I will find ways that ensure the council is more in tune with the community's priorities and desires when it comes to events like this. You will be aware that we as a council are committed to greater engagement with the community, and I'm proud of the progress we've made in this regard when it comes to major issues such as housing and local infrastructure. But this incident shows me that our priorities when it comes to the more day-to-day aspects of living in our beautiful community may be somewhat disconnected. I would like to assure everyone I'm aware of it, and I will find ways to improve it. I think a close relationship with local organisations and better conversations with the community as part of planning for future significant events will make sure we meet expectations in the future. I would also like to take this opportunity to reject the idea that the marking of Pride Month has been prioritised over the Jubilee. The Council has been very proud to support both events and has in no way forgotten one at the expense of the other. Thank you. I'm sure you'll have more than enough of me now, so I will move on. And normally it's our opportunity for Cornwall councillors to discuss issues relevant, but I don't believe we have any. No, do something. Yes, or
It's because we dominated by Cornwall Council, it's a bit sad that they can't turn up because we're a small fry, they're a big fish, and we should know what's going on.
Yeah.
Just make that point. If one can't turn up, then they should organise themselves. At least one is representing.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, my question written down for all councillors, could that be put in the minutes and then potentially action? It's a request about the sand levels around the accessible beach clubs, because I wanted to ask them if it was possible to lobby on our behalf.
Yes.
From the community.
Those times sensitive on that.
Yeah, make sure that that's accessible. It's not actually that you can't get to it. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can make that as a question.
Yeah. And then it go. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so lots of pen. Bear with me. Okay, thank you. Right, so key issues from lead councillors. So it's whether we've got anybody present. Yes.
So in terms of things that popped up, I've got to contact the police myself to come out and meet in terms of the safety and security crime area now that you otherwise, a few issues that have been raised in terms of roads. So I know that, for example, basically when the changes that they wanted come along, but like we've still got parking problems, somebody's present, people still parking a bit, supposed to be a turn around it, and there have been issues such as in Bexbury, there's a private road which doesn't have any little yellow corners, so you can park the corners, so it blocks the entire private road, which we think is so yeah, I've got, hopefully I should be getting, I have requested a call, but I should be getting a call with the council, road team, contact team, to just go through all those issues again, see where we are in trade, see how we keep it made. I did actually have a call just on my own Twitter, but it'd be great to get out again in the last meeting where I did ask for people Stratton and other villagers as well if they could get in contact with me if there's any road or path or transport issues that they have, because I live in the it's much more easier to see the Bude ones, not so much easier to see the Stratton ones, so please feel free to email me. The big group in terms of connectivity was to manage to contact all of the people that own all the MC cables that we so that's great, because now we've got all their contact details. And then the other one was go actually, talking about, so I had a lot of teams about the stability of them, about things like child seats. Obviously, it's very hard to rent cars as a child seat, but anyone that was certified. And things such as like, if there's ways that we can ensure that certificate that RFID cards quicker, by writing on your cards and things like that. And also, the big thing that they wanted me to raise actually here was the point to talk to you about the reason why the drivers keep coming out is because there's literally not electricity going into the house, as it were. And actually, apparently, we've got an exceptionally good contract with Western Power. That means that ultimately the upgrade is very cheap for us as a town council. It's a very low amount, shall we say, they told me. When normally it's like tens of thousands of pounds, it's a lot less than that. That if we are to be offering electric charging, then we need to put the electricity into the building to be able to support that. No doubt there will probably be a lot of issues as well if we want to do that and just lack where we can do car park meters or more electric chargers around. So that's the one thing that we want to ensure that we get done. I don't think it's just a matter of just a building upkeep matter that just get done, or it's actually taken to so just go snap it.
But the moment we work with Western Power, that then leads out of it. So we are talking about Western Power, so what can be done, and if it's possible to come back to the council with respect to the costs.
Thank you very much, Lucy. It's great. Okay, any other lead councillors?
Say briefly about the results of the surveys to be done in the areas of mode. A significant amount of our grants have been found in those areas. So that's very much to do with people being able to get everything that's there. That's also to the facilities team for not knowing those areas and being able to people there. My times are not going to go down until before there is a survey. And Environment Partnership Committee will be looking at lessons from this year's survey to try and work into a kind of updated management plan for the area.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Martin?
Just a very quick one that I'm meeting next week with the new business manager, Paul Goodman, about this today, to talk about the AstroTurf and the future of community sports facilities. It's fact finding, and I think Mike has we've also tried to put a meeting together next week to program with Road Club, for Club, so we can find out what everybody needs and not build a AstroTurf pitch is very close. Because it sounds like it might go that way. And we just want to find out whether we can get involved, how we can get involved, and what is needed to be done. So that's ongoing.
Did Keith pass on to you about Liam?
Yes, I need to speak to
Yes,
him.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
I contacted him, and I'm going to talk to him.
Great.
I have a chance to talk about it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. Anything else? Oh, yes, sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to show everyone this lovely little black thing that hopefully as soon as staff have been awarded, will hopefully be on display in the window of the office of the podcast. So the plaque is about signifying a safe space, so saying this building is a safe space, not just for the LGBTQ plus community, but for everyone. And it's specifically on the inside of the window.
Also, a lot of sides.
Oh, yes, it's on the inside of the window, so you can't get near because that's cool, sorry. And it's got a little QR code on it, so if you scan with your phone, you get directly onto the Cornwall Pride website, and you can basically find any local resources that you might need specifically related to mental health. It's more than just like this is a safe space and a kind of year-round allyship pilot. It's also about providing resources directly and contact with different people. So, for example, if you were having a panic attack, then seeing that back and be like, oh, right, okay, staff know what that might look like, or they've signed up to the kind of pledge, which you can read out at the moment, and I emailed it round to you guys. So yeah, essentially this is part of the stuff we're doing with Pride within Pride Month, but it kind of goes beyond that, and it becomes something a bit more movement building about mental health support, which we cover. So it's a bit of a pilot at the moment, but I hope it's something that's more. And then you can, if you, for example, are a trans individual and you are struggling with mental health support, you could just go up to the back and scan. You don't need to tell anyone, you don't need to approach anyone personally. It's something that can be used overtly, not overtly, but it's a real statement of active allyship for this part of the building and for us as a council, which I think is fantastic. So yes, you'll be seeing this hopefully soon, and then it will hopefully be communicated out online, but it's awesome. And question? Brilliant. Yes.
How do you get on the list?
On the list, so it's for businesses and other kind of groups or organisations, or it's all about like making safe spaces.
I'm not sure.
Do you know the list as in the list?
Yeah, I went through training that we got to the council, so I'm called council on badge holder.
Okay.
For whatever it is. I mean, it's suicide.
So you know, how does a practitioner get on the list of?
I'm not a practitioner, but I kind of want if someone's to come and have a problem.
Yeah, you like to be yeah. Okay. Well, let's have a conversation about that because school environmental would happily be on that practitioner. So essentially, it's things that are related to the LGBT community, but that obviously comes from people. So a lot of those things are completely interlinked. So let's talk about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to go to the public again. Is any other say that? Yes, Chris.
Thank you. You actually covered one thing I was going to mention, and that was about the people.
Yeah.
And I was very watching it going on the telly, and I thought, any minute now, some of these stands will be illuminated, there'll be much cheering, and unfortunately it wasn't, but I heard what you said, I think that's what we'll have again. And the only other thing is that on item 16, the charity name for inside is Bude-Stratton Community Project.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That was the project. That's its charity name.
Okay, Chris. Thank you. Yes.
We've already had a last week on King Operates flags. Face to face, everybody got back to our place.
Good question. Don't be answer.
But that's true. Is it not on the go couple of years?
Oh, yeah, 27th was it? So we were just saying, and off day is the 27th, so we'll be again for that for sure.
And we stay happening?
I couldn't tell you, I don't know, now I'm in a proper conversation with the other side.
Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, can I just ask, nowadays more and more people are using their phones. Can the Bude-Stratton Town Council please ensure that the content that is visible to people using phones is up to date? I want to look on the planning committee agendas minutes for May, and if you use a phone, they're not there.
Yes.
But they are in 2021. Will we have a conversation?
Yeah.
They are there in raw order. I've spoken to Tom, who's our web guy, he's fixed it today. Fingers crossed. If it comes up again, we'll obviously have to look into why it's happening. But
yeah,
it's just a problem. I know they will throw, won't they, when you've got mobile.
Yeah, and I was of the opinion that the planning committee is not happy with me. Because I cannot find anything.
They add it on the website, obviously, and they should now be acting for mobile, but we will have to
Most more people nowadays
I totally
accept
accept
it on
that.
mobiles.
Yeah, totally accept that.
Yeah, there's actually a way on the mobile, like pages that you are on desktop. So in your browser window, mobile, you get like the menu at the top, it's like show test or something. It is a full size page again, but it should allow you to graphic.
About item 15, thing.
We're getting there.
Do we need to talk about it now, or do you talk about it when you talk about it?
Usually when I get to that bit,
Okay.
is that right?
That's absolutely fine.
Okay, thank you. So number 10, there was an accusation made publicly against Councillor Peter Leroy. The monitoring officer has investigated and rejected the complaint. I think you've got the paperwork there in your thing, so it's just to note the rejection and that. And on to number 11. It's just information, isn't it? Oh, did you want? Sorry.
We can limit it, or you can resolve it. If you propose it, I propose it.
Okay, yeah, all those in favour? Thanks. Thank you. Okay, so number 11 is in light of further information to consider the next steps in the Food and Activities Summer Programme. I'd like to use Standing Order 28.1 to suspend Standing Order 2.7 so we can further consider the Food and Activities Programme. There with everybody while I shuffle my paper. So at full council in May, I'm not reading the whole thing, don't panic. At full council in May, we resolved that BSCC supports the principle of commissioning or providing a food activities programme to assist children of the community in the cost of living crisis, with a budget of £2,500 to be allocated to engage a project manager, initially for 1 month. Now, following that resolution, a job advert was placed looking for a project manager. The BSCC was contacted by Liam Dart of LJD Coaching, who subsequently applied for the post. Because LJD Coaching were already planning a summer activities programme, Liam proposed that instead of being paid to design a programme, BSTC should use the 2,500 funding to create an outreach programme instead, where free school meals and families who are just above the free school meal threshold are contacted and encouraged to sign up for the summer programme. LJD Coaching are planning to run an activities club during the summer in Bude, funded in part by the Cornwall Council Time to Move programme. The intention was to offer free places to children who are in receipt of free school meals and to charge £20 per day for all the other children. We've subsequently had a number of meetings with Liam, and I would like to propose the following. Sorry, yes. Yes, of course. Oh, okay, that part, sorry. Yeah.
In terms of the suspension of standing orders, so 21.8 allows you to suspend standing orders, and 2.7 is ones that you can't reconsider within 6 months. And really, it's a slight belt and braces here, because in fact, last time we resolved the project manager and not doing that. So now we're resolving the thing. But we're very asked to resolve doing something else, which is not. So this is the route by which you just agree. There are other routes, but this is one of the routes.
Yeah.
So you're proposing to...
I'm proposing that we suspend 2.7. So we can further consider the Food Activities Programme. Okay, all those in favour? Okay, thank you. Yes, okay, so, okay, what I'll do, right, so the proposal is that number 1, that LJD Coaching is paid a maximum of £2,500 for outreach activities during June and July this year, and for a lessons learned report made available to the STC in September. That's the first one. I'll go through all of them. Perhaps I should be going each one, I don't know. Number 2, that a subsidy of £15 per child per day is made available to Bude-Stratton residents whose children attend any time to move sessions organised by LJD Coaching during the summer of 2022 in Bude-Stratton and who are not eligible for free school meals. And also that BSCC works with any other parishes in the PCA who wish to offer a rebate to residents in their areas whose children take part in the LJD Coaching organised summer activities programme. So, any questions? And I've got a bit here. So they'd be paying 5. Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? Yes, sure.
This is from 2,500 or is this additional?
Additional. Yeah, 2,500 is purely for him to do as much outreach as he can in the run up to it. Yes.
So the 2,500 is the first, is the original 2,500?
Yes,
and
just for a slightly different purpose. Yeah, and the restitution. Any other questions? So I have got a little summary if it helps just to, if there are any questions around there. So it would be that we pay, I'm not going to read the proposal again, I'm going to we pay LJD Coaching up to a maximum of 2,500 to carry out outreach work, and we've got a breakdown there of what that equates to. It would be a roughly 10 to 15 hours per week for 8 weeks total. To ensure that the maximum number of free school meal families and those whose income is just above that free school meal threshold take up the offer, because that's what we want. We offer the £15 rebate for each daily session attended by a child living in the Bude-Stratton area who is not on free school meals for any session organised specifically by LJD Coaching. And he is planning on offering a maximum this time round of about 60 places for 20 days in August. So his long-term view is to get bigger, but practicalities, that's what we can manage at this time. So we would work with LJD Coaching and Time to Move to find a process that best provides that rebate. That part of it, we're still trying to figure out the best way of doing it that doesn't cause a huge drain on resources.
and that does the job, so we're still figuring out that part of it. We work with neighbouring houses in the Bude-Stratton who are interested in providing a similar rebate for their residents, and that could be as little as just speaking to them on the phone and helping them through the process, and then know what we've done so that they can do the same. We don't really know at this point yet what assistance they might need, if any. So, yes.
So 60 cases,
yes.
20 days.
Yes.
So maximum value of the process, every single child that wasn't put in the schools or serving next to £118. Potentially, zero.
Oh.
I'm
sorry.
Those that are on official movers, the state on the penny.
Yes, time to move, although is that the official food stamp, but it's not time to move as such as it's fine. So yes, they will be subsidised by the government.
Lorraine, on the right side, I'm not sure if I'm doing now. The Bude-Stratton meeting was Monday.
Yes.
And it was brought up, and there was a presentation by Mr. Hayes, which I wouldn't see that personally. But I have to let everyone know that I didn't feel Common Council were at all supportive. Is that correct?
Well, the Common Council was saying that there was a lot of support network, people employed by the county to look after this problem.
Yeah, and I think specifically one county councillor wasn't terribly forthcoming. I thought the presentation was just the awareness, and that's what it's for, was how I took it. And it was very important, it was really good. But yeah, so just to let everyone know that the council was willing to say supportive.
We're saying 25% of the children in this area are below the poverty line. That's the problem.
Living high school can't walk to the corner.
Yes. Okay, so any other questions on the proposal? Because otherwise, yes, it's
But as I say, if that means that almost young people who are below the poverty line are having school meals, that actually brings down, if they take all the places, it actually brings down to a maximum of 30,500. Yeah. But that also assumes that the people who are going and are all connected to rebate, which causes.
not everybody bothers to do that or needs to do that, decides to,
I suppose for the minute, in terms of just to be clear, that the 18,000, I think what we should actually do is that in the resolution, a maximum of 18,000 is allocated for reserves.
Yes, in addition to that.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I think as well, to allow our communication staff more support on the out of there's some things that we want to do along this as well.
For the comms side of it?
Yeah, just in case, like just a small project or a couple of extra days or something. Or that.
So we'd have to maybe have a conversation with Cal and see what we think. Perhaps this would be an appropriate thing. I wrote down a few things I was speaking with Philip today, because the inclusion forum was obviously picking up a lot of the discussions about this. So that is perhaps something that could go on there as a point of discussion with Cal to do the comms.
My understanding is really at the moment, the pre-work is about targeted, and that's what we'll have the company.
Liam will do,
Because we don't actually want to throw it out to everyone and get it picked up by people that may be less in need.
Yes, it'll be led very much by Liam and trying to do. Yes, Kelly.
This may be covered, so sorry if it has been, but one of the things that would be really good about this, what we discussed before, is being able to go to flexible people that you wouldn't necessarily want to talk to and see what their needs were and signposts and faces and things like that, which is one of the really good reasons to do this. Could we make kind of like a system where someone is attending as much as you can and there's a presence from the council there?
We did talk to Liam about this, and in his experience he was a little bit nervous of the approach, knowing the kind of people that go, maybe wouldn't want that kind of face-to-face contact, and we felt after all discussion that really this needs to be a relationship that we as a council build with the people in the community, rather than kind of go there and turn up, in the summer, like hello, we felt it was better to build a relationship a little bit more.
Because if you don't, you have to obviously check and cross-check.
There's already, there's a lot, so definitely, Yes, Jackie.
So I had a question, I just think it's a brilliant initiative and it's absolutely what we should do, and it's a brilliant start. So we're building it for the future. Brilliant. Thank you, Jackie. Yes,
No, this is nothing to do with it. I was just saying, if these people here for 115, could we bring it to 150?
Yes.
So they can try and do something.
Yes, good suggestion, Paul, thank you. Okay, so I didn't quite finish that additional wording to fit in that. So, do you want me to repeat it again, or you got the gist? So, can I propose, as written on the paper, proposal, with the addition of, and an additional £18,000 is set aside from the budget? Is that the proposal? Sorry, project reserves. So, proposal as written with an additional
Wonderful. All those in Is that all right? Yeah. All those in favour, please. Thank you. You want? Thank you, everybody. So I'm going to defer. I'm guessing we need to vote on that as well. Yeah. Item 12, and I'll move on. So item 12, I propose that we defer for this evening, pending some more paperwork. Yes, I will do. Yeah, we'll do it quick. Yeah, all those in favour of deferring item 12, please. And against? And abstain.
No, against. I was saying that. So I'm today.
I don't. No. If it's all right, I'll leave it. Is it what? Yeah. No, I don't. I'm deferring. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. So I will bring number 15. Is that the right one? Sorry, I'm so many notes on my paper. I can't read it. So number 15, I will bring forward now to consider a request from Holbury Road Allotment Association for the council's intervention into the proposed sale of land. Happy to go over to you if you'd like to say a few words. Thank you.
Holbury Allotments, which is in Bowling Street, has been in existence since 1988, and it was originally it was purchased by a trust which was formed by Mary Swords, so she was a Dowson field. The woman was living behind that, so she established a trust to buy the land to build a mission hall. Alongside the mission hall, there's more land which is what has been used for the allotments since that date. We've had individuals in the Church Society who question mark bought the land from one of the trustees. Now, the trust was set up to run in perpetuity to anybody with any need, means you can't buy it. It's a trust. So how we sold it to the Church Society, we moved to the museum. We received a split in 1998, 87, 2000, and last month. Now, they emptied the mission hall. They have never had anything to do with the allotment, nothing at all. They emptied the mission hall, so that's now not in use, which was the initial purpose of buying land. So, we move down. Now, I would ask, we have a couple of things we're dealing with regard to the land. We've applied for land expropriation to the land registry, that's gone already. We have applied for the Heritage Society to get grading put on mission hall itself. Just turn it down, see what else we can do with that. So we applied for the possession of the allotment, not mission hall. And the Church Society has established the registered with the land registry, the mission hall, it's called. So we know what our promise is. So that's besides, the process on next April, but we would ask the council to please consider, should our adverse possession fail for some reason, to do a consultation. There is no plan on the land at the moment, although that's what we can do. I think we're going to go more houses again over in America, from 9 o'clock in the morning. It's spoken with the department, it's spoken with the have, but the water go down to the tourist department, and they would not, they would get any more buildings in them. So, at the moment, land will be priced as agricultural land, because there's no plan on it, land, which on nowadays is about 8,500 an acre. It's probably what, 40 acre? So it would cost the council about £2,500. We are happy to raise that money and buy it from you, or you can buy it in a joint deal, pays the potential for that. So at the moment, we don't have sufficient, we don't have possible legal fees that you ask for possession of. So, I'm saying, please, do serious things about it. The law states that the council has to provide allotments. You can borrow money from head office, so it's not down to using your own funds. So, yeah, please. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? If this was to go through, it's a lot to do. What kind of issue? Would it come first over on? That's not Is it protected anyway?
No, it's not.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it is. If compulsory purchase includes that, with that building, you would dearly appreciate small area too. So there's not a building down, just a little area in the allotments.
How many lots of holders are there?
There's 7 at the moment.
And how many
They're
owners
not
are
council size ones. They're probably about 7
Is that small or bigger than council size?
A little bit smaller.
A little
And
smaller.
it's 20 lots.
Well, I'm just leading to a question in my mind about creating more space for people. If it's something we need that we want, it's a space for
The 7 at the minute, we have a business, but then that's going to be people who've been there for 60 years.
Yeah, sure.
37 years.
Yeah.
I believe that you've got in the apartment for 27 years.
I think so.
I mean, the number of people you get walking down the road and you have the taxi coming in for a chat now. It's a real community.
We know it's really good.
It's really good for our road. The community spirit going. The development, what we used to do in Mission Hall parties, or, it made people talk it up. And we done a big talk, and for the church to decide to build something that really used, and for them to override our community by saying we're going to go with 8, 9, 10 minutes. It was not going to be too suffering. We're fucking cars with a company lorry.
Yes,
Maybe sit down for the last you said one of the trustees sold the land to the church. Does the church have a record?
The things that was done, all the things were done. So there's the original trust. In 19, conveyance was done where Marisol gave money to Redmond to buy property and it was sold on the land. So he did it, signed the conveyance to say he was doing it on behalf of the trust. So I thought that I'm buying as an on behalf of the trust. So I don't know
It sounds very odd. And the trouble is, if the council will put in the budget, the legal side is very much, it's not the actual budget, it's paying legal fees, obviously.
Yeah, it's. You have tried out doing it when we was previous people when we were I asked specifically to see the budget. It's fine. Everybody's totally separate from the games. And we did not provide them. So as far as I'm concerned, we do not want to. We cannot pay them when everyone wants to. If you don't, that's why I should have done it.
I would say, knowing my fellow councillors, I think it would all go towards to try and find more space to work. But committing at this point, with this messy situation, very confusing situation you've got, to entering into a complex and costly compulsory purchase order without knowing really more about it, I don't think it's something we can really commit to this point. I think we would support it and we held out and we'll see what we get to. We would love to kind of keep in contact and see where your kind of inquiries lead to. But for us at this point, to commit to many thousands of pounds and many hours to kind of do it, it's important.
We can consider approaching the church strategy and saying, we can do this.
But it was advised in terms of, I want to say, we as a council can resolve to buy land. Compulsory purchase is not a straightforward thing. Actually, if we call the council and actually make a compulsory purchase order on our behalf, we'd apply to them and we would pay their costs. So there are always people. So yeah. So probably the danger is there's the potential of legal cost involved here rather than necessarily the land cost itself. And to undertake the compulsory purchase order, we must initially attempt to buy land. We can't just suck up the compulsory purchase order in, we must actually have at least attempt a negotiation with the land owner to see if there's an amicable and an agreeable settlement. So there are a raft of things which we need to do. My advice would be to take a step-by-step approach. And there's ways to commit to undertaking the compulsory purchase order at this stage, but if you are minded to be supportive, you can explore, let's say, in the course, as the speaker said, in terms of the association may make its own headway through its own route, so we're a bit of a backstop in a sense, aren't we? In terms of
if we talk councillors to the church party, you would get a better idea. One would ask these kind of things. They won't show up. They may not. But
I've got a proposal in my mind, so I go into the committee. So something that I brought up in a conversation previously, but there is substantial amount of grants available at the moment for securing community assets. So UK government are going to £100,000 for doing this. For example, it'd really help if you guys were set up as some sort of formal legal entity at some point as a collective, like NCIC potentially, that sort of thing can also help. But helping, signposting these sorts of opportunities for you and being that council who then go and talk to the church and start their own little steps. I think it'd be great to have a specific person, as a councillor, you guys talk to, and also that person talks to the church basically. So I think a person, there's typically a councillor or there's a specific person here that really wants to do that.
See what happens. More I know you'll have to, it's county council has to purchase it, but if somebody from, you could ask them, and somebody from there then to the church society, they do the CD.
Yeah, the secret rate, actually, we used to have to apply to them, so actually, if it went to that route, it would be the town council buying it. It's just that the legal process is they actually enforce, and put the actual notices to do the work to buy it, and then it gets conveyed to us. It's quite technical. Yeah, in terms of, if instructed, and this is where it comes into, obviously, we receive the information in that sense, so it's the council who instructs us as to whether they want us to spend time and effort on these things and what they wish us to do. So we can look at that. If they wish to be a legal counsellor, that's fine, but we would expect that person to do the work, I think, in that sense.
Okay, at this stage,
I would think that law it's about, like you say, do this, not do it.
There is a lot of talk around allotments specifically, but it's not necessarily by a particular piece of land.
I think at this stage, considering how many potential options there might be, and not knowing what is possible and what isn't, I want to propose that we explore the options to find out exactly what is possible. So that would be to delegate whoever's relevant the officers to find out our options.
And then we talk to the church about their position.
Yeah.
And talk to you and
we need to know that.
No,
That's a starting point. I think that needs to be the first step.
Mr. Chief, the Church Society.
In Scotland, my brother's a vicar and he hates them. And he said they are extreme Protestants.
Okay, so I propose that we explore the options and that we what is a starting point.
Okay.
Yeah. All those in favour? Thank you. Is that right?
CIC grants.
Thank you very much. What the options are. Thank you. Okay, on to number 13, which is to discuss the capacity of Pocket Cemetery and give direction. I think it's a word also.
Well, actually, this is the payments of this, but just to say that the cemetery is run by us. It is very near capacity. We have 24 spaces, do we think, for the maximum. And to be honest, with the land that we have left, we might be slightly short some of the ground conditions underneath, sort of my kids sort of concrete from previous play parks and things like that. So, this has been raised in the past to previous council. There is a legal obligation to provide cemeteries from the town council. Obviously, at some point in the past, the town council, but that way chose to do so. I think all the other cemeteries in the parish are closed. The church. So we, as a community, there is very limited capacity there. Previously, the council resolved in terms of not to take the matter further and to ask all councils to provide. My understanding is all council neither actually have a legal obligation. And the indication that I'm going back probably 3+ years was that if they were to, I think I recognise an issue, if they were to provide it, it would be on a sub-regional basis, so like provision numbers, where they might not have some municipal provision. So really, given where we are at, and the likelihood that the cemetery will be full within the life of this council, I think it may be appropriate that you consider whether you wish to seek some form of extension of its of provision, or not. We have it's appropriate at the moment. We haven't done a lot of detail work, but again, until we know the council, there's no point in doing that. But at the moment, it gives some direction to your wishes.
Okay, so any thoughts on this episode?
No, thank you.
What are the options to space? Where can it be? Can it be extended for when else is there? I mean, I'd like to say, we have to consider this. This is very important to the community. But what are
there are, well, as it strikes me at the moment, there is land potentially, so it's not item, but very potentially across the stream. It's not impossible necessarily. There is land beyond the current boundary. The current graveyard was extended. I don't know how many years back, 10 years back? It's only 4 months. So it has been extended in the past by property purchase, land to the side of it. That's even more difficult now because the land now to the side of it has been planted with trees, as detailed. But so there is land around it, which is potentially possible, but like in anything land is difficult. There are always comments, there are restrictions, there are environmental rules, there are planning rules, and this is why if we wish to do something, it will take work. So you've got issues around the current sites, or potentially you could look to buy entirely different sites. That's fair. It doesn't actually, you have legal powers, it doesn't have to be in the parish. It can be just outside. No problem.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the land around, I assume that's been discussed with the landlord, whether it's to be said that. Have we had that discussion with the landlord?
It's done.
Come on, you give a free slot.
Yes, Katie?
As I said, the other option as well is if you have really goals, like how bad it's not goals, and then actually the oldest are in their airplanes. It happens every year, but that's in the lotteries, natural variable, they don't have any natural variable, so it's anywhere,
Yeah, there's one at Penn. Yeah, there's a Penn.
The one not too far, not within.
Yeah.
So that's good. There's actually that block that's like the same person gave it. That's but that's all the plan. Puts back.
So as far as direction for officers, as Keith said, we've got two options here. We either basically explore the options again and find out what options there are, or we say no, as has been previously. So yes, Keith.
propose that that's absolutely the option.
Yes, I'll say that.
All those in favour? All those against? And any abstention?
Okay, I will remind you, this is another potentially.
Yes, yes. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
I'm just going to say, I know the council fell out, the councillor got really fell out with the priest that he gave him, and the two field, there was a few long field next to it, and fell out the building. You know, so it blocked it off, so there can't be anyone. So it has to be off, or on down.
Okay, right, thank you. Right, okay, that's 13, sorry now, and 14. Consider a request for a deed of easement over Popple Cemetery car park, and again, we have got pages related to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, another kind of a difficult or tricky land question. In essence, this is an approach for a land owner, and this is a plot of land over the street, I didn't go over the street to the right-hand side of the cemetery. And what they have asked, a lot of councils in the past, going back some years, not that I've not dealt with this one before, so it's very much ongoing issue. They had permission on that site for a depot house. They had that reached out and they think they get it back again. The access is the current way the code setup is. What they're asking is access under the car park, the cemetery, and the cost of the bridge onto their access. That's the same as they.
It looks like there's no trees up there now.
So those two types of things to sign off. Beyond that is a very small stone bridge. And beyond that is the land in question. It's smaller than this big. Yes, I would say that is. Now, the applicant has suggested that they have a right of access. I would say that that's not necessarily proven or accepted by us in terms of usage. And what's more, even if there were any established rights, it could only be pedestrian because that is not a bridge suitable for vehicles. And the intention would be to have a roadway, so vehicle access. So it would mean dropping the curb and allowing vehicles to pass across our land. They would have to reconstitute the bridge and onto their land so they can have parking spaces for their vehicle takers. I have one house, this is not going to be, so we don't know this, but they have two parking spaces on that side on their land. Now, on the bottom line, it's a piece of land next to the cemetery. To them, I would say it must be a value there. The council can grant, if it wishes, that right of access, and just say, yes, here you are. If you could be minded that right would have a value, and you may say, let's establish that and see if the person would agree on a figure to buy that right, or you may say, we don't wish to give access. There are your options.
As far as establishing that, would that be basically for us to commission somebody that comes in and does that?
I think they're allowed to do it on that, because it's the calculation of the land value of the development, as they at the moment it's fenced off, it's not really used by anybody,
Just gives mystery to it. It was a garden for road cottages that's very well the church buildings behind it. And then that when the owner, well, the current owner's father, sold that cottage. It's the garden off with the intention for them to live there.
One area just to clarify that, the top area is untold, we really take those gardens of two cottages that go to 0 hours. So it's going to be the split side. But you can hardly see anything of this little hill, it's one of those trees. I did make a visit there, there is a council down there. We know that you saw there were gardens on one side, there are some old cultural buildings, structures on a house, sheds like things, and that's city wide. It's a reasonable sized plot. I did keep talking to the owner say, if you are unable to develop this, because they've been trying to develop this for the last 15 years and really want to come to some form of resolution around it. And I did say, if the council were to think of this, of purchasing this for maybe the Christian cemetery, or for instance, would you be a deal and have to put that out? Whether a land that is suitable is a whole other question.
the reason I'm voting against doing anything with this item is because I feel that the things that I want to do as a councillor and the priorities that I have as a councillor it's going to be kind of inculcated into me since I'm in here that I have to acknowledge that there's a programme of work and that if I'm going to add things to that programme of work, there has to be some kind of prioritisation of what's actually on that programme of work. So I don't feel that we should be bringing items on that and to our programme of work, potentially push back the priorities that we've already expressed without us specifically looking at that programme of work and saying what's now going to what is the new time goals or what extra resources are going to be needed to actually do these things. Just don't feel it's right to just kind of push more of the work through and give the massive extra headache of trying to cope with this. I feel like any vision like that with the Gantt chart, with all the projects on it, and with an absolute clear idea about what extra resources are going to, what's the cost of the extra resources that are going to be doing this.
Yeah, maybe I was expecting more people in the country, so can we put that into the same party of the argument that it's really ambitious, that's something we can go back to doing it.
Well, we can defer it to future dates. I will say that the last email one of the paper is their request to us, and they are keen to have some form of resolution. They've got their own mind to want to know where they are going with this.
Yes, okay. Thanks, Sean. I mean, Sean. I was supposed to be thanks, Keith. Sean. Yeah, also no. Okay. What's going to say? Yeah, so talking about the like right access, or I can't see the word exactly. Without that, this site is completely undevelopable in terms of what the owner wants for developing into a property site. So they would need vehicular access to get all the heavy part in there to actually do work. Also, because of the density of a lot of trees, it's probably not ecologically appropriate for even an eco build, because it would have to have a lot of environmental surveys, and that obviously the block was also a cemetery site. So thinking about okay, but I mean the borders of that. So in terms of like damage and whatever, so all of that would obviously be pending whether ecological surveys come up. But at the moment, it's essentially like an accidental roll-by pavement because nothing's happening there, and it's completely set aside, like beat back end on garden basically. So I don't really feel it's appropriate for us as council to be saying, okay, yeah, we'll grant you right of access, and then you've looked up the value of your land, which is currently kind of mixed use, and now you can build something that's going to serve you and your one family, when we've got people who want allotments, and we've got potentially, we're running out of sites for burial. So the request is tied very much to developing this for a home, but I don't think that that's something that I feel comfortable with our council kind of going forward with, because just on principle, I don't really think that's appropriate. It's completely not doable without this. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get the kind of requests just to sort of go, oh, you can jump on it, deal with it. Like, I've not really thought about it until the detention it's absolutely right, stacking more stuff up onto the staff, which is not necessarily the best to do. So, as a question for you, would this be something that's necessary to oversight to get a direction of, because that's the place where it gets, where the actual where we figure out what might get lost and what might not.
Yes, so my feeling is that we need a clear position from Keith about what potential resources are required for these types of jobs. Things like exploring options of the cemetery, things like the legal easement, and then with a look at who's going to get this job and what she's going for, or what the cost would be getting external legal advice. So we need something, we need paper that's more around. I think it probably is for here, because actually we would end up in one cost, which we could then, if we did agree that cost was borne, then we could monitor it through the site. But
what are your thoughts, Keith? Because you're not worried.
We're really into a conversation which we haven't quite yet had, because there's something almost a agenda. There was another item around looking at the work groups and forums, what we actually had operational, what was needed, etc. And I know that they thought about having another forum, almost would fit this internal, which helps us plan our work and understanding of those priority bits. But it doesn't exist. So in that sense, so we're not a million miles apart in our thinking here. Because each thing that you as a council want to do, we do need to get into the programme, and it was quite right, the more we put on it, the more it pushes and shuts the things already in there. And the more things we try to do at the same time, also, there's an issue about focus.
Yes.
And we are juggling like crazy with so many things. So not having more things, the work would be useful for a while, but we can clear that and actually draw a line. But on this one, again, probably it is the council where this kind of thing would need to be decided. And again, it's a little bit at two stages of his own interest, and then you could say that this one you could say, no, we're not having it. But almost there's, apart from the letter, there's a lot more work to do. If yes, we actually are interested, go away and do the next stage, yes, that collects work. And same with cemetery, you said, no, actually, we're not interested, it wouldn't make it hand into the work programme at all. So we need to know your general will, then we can scope it, and then there's a place where we can have a conversation about where does it fit in. You can't expect everything you decide or ask for now to be done.
That's just been right, just not to give them not just resources. But I don't think the community would want it at all. If the community is asked to bring people around there, I think the good world, not it's a special space there. That's like cemetery, it's sensitive, the play part there, there's the water, there's an area that has a natural beauty, is right beside the river, will have an impact on that river. I think if we did a consultation, I would be over by the people who are against it. So why go to that easy? Why consider it? It's the benefit of one person against the benefit of the entire community. Can't see any reason to go for it.
Do you want people walking on the land? Mr. Land, what do people walking on the land?
Will it? It's what's legally for.
Which one? Well, to be honest with you, it's not about the individuals. This is not